All right, let's dive into a story today that takes us to Palm Beach, Florida. We're talking million-dollar mansions, hurricanes, and surprisingly, the longevity of steel.
It's a really interesting case study. We're going to see how engineering solutions, they change over time, especially with, nature throwing curveballs.
So picture this. Post-World War II, West Palm Beach is booming. Soldiers are back, the economy is up, and everyone wants a slice of that oceanfront life. And that's where we find ourselves, Manalapan.
And this is key. This part of Florida, it's right in Hurricane Alley. So you've got these luxury estates popping up, but they're basically staring down a major threat from nature.
So enter the Manalapan Seawall, built in the 1960s. These folks meant business. They used steel, PMA 22 steel sheet piles to be exact, driven deep into the sand. And get this, they even added steel tiebacks anchored further inland. They were serious about this thing lasting.
And it did, for decades, until 2012 rolled around. Hurricane Sandy, and she was a big one, decided to pay a visit.
This wasn't just a little storm surge. We're talking over 1,000 miles of fury, $50 billion in damage, the second costliest storm in U.S. history.
And Manalapan, right there in the thick of it. Remember those sturdy seawalls? Well, Sandy's surge went right over them.
I have trouble picturing that. A wall built for that kind of protection overwhelmed. What happened?
Nature always finds a way. The water, it eroded the soil, exposed those concrete anchors, and then it's like a domino effect. The tiebacks snapped, those steel sheet piles lost their support, and down they went.
So no barrier. The ocean just surged onto those million-dollar properties. Must have been some serious damage.
It was. And this is where the story shifts from destruction to like a race against time. Homeowners facing another hurricane season with a practically non-existent seawall, but the repairs, it wasn't as simple as just rebuilding.
Right. Environmental regulations, we are talking about Florida and all that coastline, all that wildlife.
Exactly. The EPA, they've got strict rules, especially protecting nesting sea turtles. So suddenly, there's this ticking clock to get those repairs done before the turtles arrive.
Talk about pressure. Mother Nature's not giving them a break, so what do? Same design for the new seawall.
This is where the steel choice comes back in. And it's a real surprise. Those original steel sheet piles, driven into the sand over 50 years before.
Submerged all that time. That's gonna be rough on the metal. I'm guessing it held up okay.
Better than anyone expected. When they started pulling the old steel out, they found something amazing. The parts under the mudline. Almost as good as new. No oxygen down there, no corrosion. Talk about durability.
Wow. That's incredible. This little accident probably shaped their decision for the new seawall. You know what they say, if it ain't broke.
Exactly. They went with steel again. This time, even thicker sheets. Coated, they're estimating a 100-year lifespan. It's a trend in coastal engineering. Stronger, more resilient materials. But they didn't stop there. They weren't taking any chances this time.
So steel again. But this time they really went all out, right? Not just rebuilding, reinforcing.
Yeah, the new seawall, it's taller, 2.5 meters above the mudline. That's a full meter taller than the old one. But they realized height wasn't the whole story. They use shorter steel sheets, so it makes like a T shape.
So it's not just how high the wall is, but how well it holds up against the ocean pushing on it.
Exactly. And of course, they had to work around those sea turtles, timing the construction so they didn't disturb the nesting. The whole project, it shows how engineering, environmental stuff, it can work together.
You don't hear that very often, working together, especially with something as big as a seawall. Shows it can be done, though. Progress, without trashing the environment.
Exactly. The Manalapan seawall is a good example, right? We learn from what didn't work, deal with the new problems, and we build smarter, tougher.
So next time you're at the beach, right? Take a second to think about the stuff most people don't even notice. Those seawalls, breakwaters, even just big rocks, strategically placed. That's us, constantly trying to make it work with the ocean.
And think back to that Manalapan seawall. Shows we can learn from our mistakes. New problems come up, we adapt, find solutions that work, with nature, not just against it.
And that wraps up our deep dive today. We've seen the problems, the solutions, how it's this back and forth between what we want and what the ocean's going to do. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two about life on the coast. and maybe gotten a little curious about what the future holds, for us and the ocean.
Yeah, it's a story that's still being written,
Yeah.
and we're all a part of it, in a way.
Thanks for exploring with us, and we'll catch you on the next one.